What's going on, everybody? You're gonna wanna watch the end of this video because this is value packed with a lot of things I promise you will not find elsewhere. This video can save you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, just depending on how you implement it. I'm gonna admit my personal and logistic mistakes on everything I've done dropshipping wise. Again, this is gonna be a very personal, but very, very real video. So if you like that kind of content, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'm gonna hop right into it right now. So as like a dropshipping guru, I probably shouldn't be admitting a lot of this stuff because I'm supposed to act like this all perfect human being, but I'm gonna shy away from that, and I'm just gonna give it to you straight up. All right, so one of my first mistakes, I'm gonna do this chronologically from the beginning of dropshipping when I started 2 years ago. One of my biggest first mistakes was I let a little success stop me. Usually that's the opposite of a lot of people, but for me, it was a little success stopped me. I just allowed it to. And what I mean by that is when I started getting automated income for the first time in my life, I'm making so much money compared to what I was doing as a busser. You know, I used to make like $60, $70 a day as a busser. And then all of a sudden I'm doing $200 to like $900 a day profit just drop shipping one item. And I was fucking thrilled. You know, I could buy Yeezys. You know, no one was telling me what to do. That was the biggest part. But I kind of let it get to my head, and I made this excuse of saying, well, once this fizzles out, now I can make a multi-product store with all the data. So I gave myself an excuse to not keep pushing and making a bunch of stores, like 5 stores. If I could go back to the beginning, that's exactly what I would tell myself. I would say, listen, congratulations on the store you're running, but now you see the potential. Now you should open 4 more stores and start managing all these. Just because for once in my life, I could do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, with nobody telling me what to do. That was so huge for me, but that was just a beginner mistake. Don't make that mistake yourself when you start making money on dropshipping. All right, so one of my next stupidest mistakes was I was very arrogant and cautious of new tactics at the beginning. If something was working a little bit, I would just, go all in because I was so nervous to lose what I've already done, and I was nervous to test other things. So for example, this is a perfect example why you should never give up. I tried this one product, I did only PPE and made a few sales. I started losing money. Then I literally ended the store. I moved to LA, became an Uber driver for like 2 months, and I was like, there's something to that. There's something to that store. I just knew there was. So while driving, I activated the same store with the same ad, with the same product, with same everything. The only thing different this time was I knew Facebook ads better, and I started studying Facebook ads more deeper. Long story short, ended up scaling that same product I gave up on to $210,000. Do not be arrogant to different tactics, and I don't have all the answers. Don't only listen to me. Be open to everything because you never know what's gonna work for you. And I talk about this a lot with people who've done millions and millions of dollars. The most successful people in dropshipping take tactics from a bunch of people and then implement it into their own little strategy, and that's what works best for them. Be sure to do that yourself. Okay, so yeah, again, I did this chronologically. So for the first year, I never hung around anyone doing dropshipping. I never hung around anyone doing online businesses at all for 2 reasons. One reason, I'm in St. Louis. Like, not really too many people are doing this in St. Louis, to my knowledge. At this point now, 2 years later, I've met like a couple, and I do see them pretty often. Again, my friend Jacob took my course, and he ended up quitting Boeing. So it's like really cool to bounce ideas off of other people who actually know what they're talking about, so that you're not just providing value, you're getting it back. I mean, it's phenomenal, and it's very motivating. When I go to LA, Miami now, and I hang out with people like Noah Tucker, Sebas Bedoya, Mikey Katz, all these people, I get so much motivation because it's not just me anymore, It's a collective effort, and they're pushing me. They don't even know they're pushing me, but they're pushing me just from their stories that they're saying. So that's a huge one. And then my second reason I didn't do that is because I always heard this rhetoric of everyone saying, you're the people you hang around with, your income equals your top 5 friends. I thought that was all bullshit, and I kind of want to like prove everyone wrong and be like, no, listen, like I hang out with the same friends I've been hanging out with for like 5 years. Nothing's really changed except my income and my stuff. So that was just a little stupid thing. I would heavily encourage you guys to hang around people within the same realm of what you're trying to do. Maybe it's not even drop shipping, but if it is drop shipping, get your friends in on it, or put out a post, put out even a Facebook ad in your area trying to find other people who are doing drop shipping, because I guarantee you that's gonna pay off immensely just to be surrounded by those types of people. Okay, and this one's a pretty personal one that I probably shouldn't admit as I'm saying as like a guru, but it is my reality at some aspects, so I assume it's a lot of other people who are trying this aspect. So at the very beginning, I let a little success stop me. I didn't keep pushing. I have like a bad thing where I can make a little problem stop me, and then I'll make excuses of why I can't fix it. Now, I didn't have it too much in the beginning, but now since I have so many different stores and so many different things happening, I can allow myself to procrastinate and put off something just because a little error happened. I'll just reason with myself of why I can't do this right now, you know? That's just something I run into sometimes, not a lot, but like sometimes with myself, and that's just something I'm trying to correct. So if you can relate to that, just take this video in as personally as possible and straight into your heart and soul, and just remember these things. Like, I've made so many mistakes myself. I'm not some perfect guru out there, and I'm definitely not gonna pretend to be one. All right, so this is a little mistake I made recently. I didn't put the Shopify app on my phone just because, you know, I didn't want to constantly be checking it. I had a problem with always constantly checking the app like multiple times an hour, so I didn't want that. I just kept it on my laptop. Well, it turns out that the Shopify glitch of June, I believe it was early June, happened, and I didn't have my phone to see that I wasn't getting sales for like 4 hours. If I would have known that, I could have shut off my ads, but I ended up losing like $2,000 that day just because I didn't have the app on my phone. Most people will do this, but again, I will just stress that I heavily encourage you to have the Shopify app on there just so you can be aware of if there's any errors with your ads, if there's any errors with your products. Like, this happened once in Seattle. I did have the app, but I didn't check it in time. I ran out of product for like half a day and lost hundreds of dollars. It sucked. All right, so one of my newish mistakes is definitely still using AliExpress. AliExpress really sucks. For you beginners out there, I am getting a lot of messages and I'm seeing your messages. I'm sorry I can't reply to everyone, but I am getting your messages. Hey Scott, I saw that you said you shouldn't be using AliExpress. Should I wait to dropship until the app you're talking about comes in full release? No. AliExpress is for testing. But listen to what you just said. Should I wait until? This is exactly what you should learn from my mistakes I'm talking about. You never want to give yourself an excuse not to start. Once you do that, it's going to become a repetitive process. So say you run into like a small little problem on Shopify's app. And I see a lot of people do this, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying I see a lot of people do this. Run into an error on Shopify's app. You know in your head that nobody in any Facebook group can help you but Shopify themselves, especially if it's a coding error. However, I see tons of messages and posts in the Facebook group about this. Hey guys, I have this error with my theme. The online store tab isn't opening. What should I do? I know that you shouldn't be contacting the Facebook group, but because you're doing it, now you're giving yourself a reason to stop right then, stop pushing and stop working, and then wait for someone to respond. If no one responds, now you have an excuse to quit altogether because I don't know what to do. I never got a response. Contact Shopify. Go to the root of the problem directly. Don't rely on others outside of the company that you're having issues with. For example, Facebook ads. You can contact Facebook, you know. Oberlo. You can contact Oberlo. It just makes sense. Never give yourself that excuse or out. And then just to clarify, I never really had that issue myself, but it does fall under the category of what I'm talking about. Like, for me, I always went to the root. Like, I never thought for a second, like, I'm gonna ask this group of people what I should do about an error I'm experiencing in Facebook ads instead of just asking Facebook themselves. It only makes sense. Okay, so I'm pretty stupid for doing this one. Again, I'm laying all my mistakes out for you. Breaking down the shield, I'm breaking down the shell. I'm giving you all my mistakes I've made. Judge me, I don't really care, but this is where you'll find really good and unique value that most people won't even talk about. So I stopped dropshipping for like 3 months. I think it was like around February till May, I believe. I was still paying my virtual assistants $120 a week for nothing. My stores weren't even running. I wasn't running Facebook ads, but I did this for months just because, you know, I don't even know why I did it. Like, I really don't even know why exactly I did it. Because I think it was like I didn't want to cut their payments off and then like not get them back. I don't know what the reasoning in my head. This is a really stupid mistake, but guys, do not pay your VAs if they're not doing anything. Ooh, okay, so this one's kind of unique and I can't really blame myself for it, but it is a mistake. From the beginning, I've been saying like you want a general one product store that nods to the fact, the domain name nods to the fact you only have one product at a time, such for me, one deal at a time. That's not the case anymore, and technically it's never really been the case. Like, there's always been a better way, and nowadays this is the way you should only do one product stores. I've talked about this in many of my videos. You can check them out, so I'm just gonna briefly cover this. You want your domain name to be directly linked to the product you're selling, and you want the whole website that you're selling it on to be one page with one product, but the whole thing branded under one product. You have complete control of the name, and people who come to your site will trust it way more. Rather than just like onedealatatime.com, it'll be a specific product name.com. And there's two ways to go about this. One, if you're early enough to a product, you can get the actual domain name of it. So I always use this example, fidgetspinner.com. But if fidget spinner and the fidget spinner or a fidgetspinner.com, all this is taken, you can do something unique that shout out to my boy Jacob Oakes taught me. So what you'll do, an example, we're gonna use the fidget spinner. You can say the spinny dilly or something like that, the spinny dilly. So you can name something that is just a completely new name. And I'm gonna tell you why. One, it's good for branding, obviously, if it takes off. And then two, anyone who Google searches silly dilly, they're not gonna find all the other people selling fidget spinners. You have that name. When my boy Jacob did that, he went from working at Boeing and doing drop shipping as a side income to quitting Boeing because he like 5x'd all of his profits from doing this, because he was recording their screen. I forget what app it is, but you can see what they do. And all these people, like half of them, would just stop and then they just wouldn't move for 30 seconds and then they close it. So what he found out was they were Googling it, finding it on Amazon, finding it on eBay, and then ordering it through them instead of him. So if you can do that, that can be extremely powerful. Ooh, okay, so this one you gotta be very careful on. So I've made the mistake in the past when I'm scaling a new store to scale hard even if I'm losing a little bit of money. I'll tell you the reason I do that and the problem with that. The reason I do that is because the data alone is going to be worth tons of money. I've seen it in multiple of my stores. I lose money at the beginning, but now that I have that data, I can make the lookalike audiences, therefore become actually profitable at the end and have a very profitable brand. That's just the way of the world sometimes. Again, you got to think, launching an official business like brick and mortar is going to cost you like $30,000 to $40,000 and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt just to even start before you make a sale, and you're not going to make a profit for 2 years. So like, you got to think of business mind in this sense. You're more than likely going to lose money at the beginning, but as you scale and as your pixel matures and as you get that data for more lookalike audiences, you're going to slowly become profitable if you do it right. However, in the past, I've gotten very impatient and just wanted to push it, so that maybe I'm losing like $50 to $100 a day, but as I push it, maybe I'm losing $200 that day, maybe I'm losing $400 that day, maybe I'm losing $700 that day. Luckily, I don't make this mistake a lot. I've only really made it on one store before, but eventually that store became very profitable, so my hunch was right. However, that's a dangerous game to play, scaling hard, because as you scale hard and your revenue goes up, though if you're making a loss, that loss could keep on increasing. So it should speak for itself. You want to keep a close eye on your profit revenue. And also, if you guys are using Oberlo, I didn't know this until recently. If you guys are using Oberlo does not factor in the shipping cost on their dashboard, just the product cost. So if a lot of you guys are drop shipping out there and you're like, I'm wondering where all this money Oberlo is telling me I'm making is, if it's the shipping cost. Make sure that you know that. Okay, so this one's super strange. I'm gonna end it on a really weird one. So I do have a dropshipping program. It's called simplifiedropshipping.com. You can check it out in the link below. But what's the strangest phenomenon I've ever seen is, obviously a lot of my close friends and stuff will hit me up and be like, hey, I see you doing dropshipping, yada, yada. I feel like sometimes I'm a nice guy, so it's like, I'll give it to them for free. I'll give them simplified dropshipping. The weirdest phenomenon, guys, is the people in my life who I give the program for free are just terrible. Like they just tank. And then the weird thing is they like constantly text me. And my one rule, I tell everyone I give this program to for free, my one rule is do not text me drop shipping questions. This is the one inbox in my entire life that I have left that isn't just flooded with drop shipping questions. So I say, do not text me. Here's the weird thing, guys. Every person I've ever given the program to for free has constantly texted me and broken the rules of not keeping the questions in the Facebook group. And it's not even like a friend thing. The friends who have actually paid me for it, they keep the questions in the Facebook group and they don't directly text me. Yeah, they might ask me a few questions in person, but it's the people who get it for free. So that's why I like laugh a little bit when people try to pirate the program or like buy it for cheap. You're doing two things. Well, you're doing like three things to yourself. One, you're rewiring your brain to not have any skin in the game, and you're rewiring it so that you think you can cheat and get by and do things on a very schemy level and think you're gonna get success from it. Not many people have ever gotten success doing that. It's a very bad way of doing it. And again, you're rewiring your brain so that it's gonna start affecting other aspects of your life. Two, you don't get into the Facebook group, so you don't get the actual like help that you should be getting from the community of people doing the exact thing of you, which is the most important thing ever. Like, you will not get verified into the group. And then three, again, it kind of links back to one, but you're not doing it honestly. Like, honesty will always get you far. I'm gonna end it on this note. My friend Gary Jones, I was lucky enough to go to his house and we had a 6.5-hour conversation. We ended the conversation with him talking about his root canal. He said, Scott, 15 years ago, I got a root canal done. It's when they removed the entire root. He said about 1 or 2 years ago, he started getting major pain on this side of his face and it swelled up. He sent me the photo, like swelled up to like a baseball. And he's like, what could be going on? So he goes into the doctor and the doctor says, oh, you have an infected root. We need to go and cut that out. He goes, that's impossible. I had a root canal already 15 years ago. They removed the root. The dentist says, no, they didn't. They didn't do a good enough job. They didn't get the entire root. Now we're gonna have to go way deep in there and just remove it. He was in intense pain for weeks. So this is what he told me. He said, Scott, you can't build on an infected base. You cannot build on something that's infected from the beginning. And what he means by that is, if at the very beginning you're faking it, if at the very beginning, you're doing something wrong, I'm not gonna say any names, but a certain guru who has been known to be scamming people for years recently got demolished and his entire personal brand is ruined. His family's personal brand is ruined. Everything is ruined because he had an infected foundation from the very beginning. And no matter how high you build a skyscraper, if that foundation isn't stable and it isn't structured, it's gonna crumble. One day, it is gonna crumble, especially the more you build on top of it. It's either gonna bother you and it's gonna like wreak havoc on your brain. So guys, just remember, when you build on an infected foundation from the very beginning, it will inevitably fall down. Do things honestly, do things right, and do things where you put the actual work in that needs to be done, because I promise you, as long as you don't give up, you will succeed in whatever you want to do. So thank you so much for watching. Again, please hit like if you like these. I got a new lens, so I can do wide shots like this. I really love this lens so much. It is so cool. Be sure to comment below and tell me what you think about this. Tell me if you have any questions or concerns. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Just thank you guys so much for watching. My life has completely changed in the past year. It's been just about a year since I've launched this YouTube channel. You can go back to the very beginning and you can see a new chapter begins in the thumbnail, me going like this. It's because I was making like a few vlog type videos beforehand. And then I was like, I'm getting serious about e-commerce, and I've been making e-commerce videos for over a year now, and it's been the coolest journey ever, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.